Come to me. Come to me. Hear my call. Come to me. Professor, my dreams grow darker. Does evil come from within us? Or from beyond?
He is coming.
He is coming.
He is coming to us.
He's coming.
Who is coming to you, my child? We are here encountering the vampire. Nosferatu.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to BAF.
Guten Abend, mein Fieben Labyrinths.
I have no idea what that fucking means.
Good evening, my fellow film lovers.
Awesome. I love that.
It's German.
So you've been teaching yourself that stuff, haven't you?
No, I speak so Deutsch.
Really? I didn't know that you were... Seriously? How well can you speak the language?
I can understand everything you say to me. It's speaking I'm still working on.
Oh man, so that's pretty fucking awesome. I'm learning a lot of the languages would be really hard for me. It'd be very difficult. I've always wanted to learn German language, and also
it's bad English. That's all it is. Well,
bad English, the German language.
So what's podcasting in German?
What?
Podcasting.
You know, that's kind of funny because when I watch a movie and see them talk in German, sometimes you can hear the words, but just said in a different way. So I can understand what you're saying by that. But speaking of Germany, we are doing a hot take on the remake of a German horror film, which is the 1923,
22, baby.
22, yes, 1922 Nosferatu, which is a very interesting watch. It's a silent film. You know, it's when film was not talkies yet, and I think it was the first. I think it's the first adaptation of the Bram Stoker's novel, but in a different way, basically borrowing from it.
So as my fellow mentor Joe Bob Briggs was said when he aired Nosferatu for his last drive-in show.
Yeah,
fuck Florence Broker.
Wait, what?
Broker. What's the last name? Damn it. What's Bram Stoker. Fuck Florence Stoker.
Oh, okay. Yes, the widow of Bram Stoker, because I think she wouldn't give the rights to the story. So it was, and from what I heard, I think I did some looks at some trivia about it, but basically on the original movie that it got they tried to destroy all the copies of it or something like that.
That's true. It took 3 years of litigation in court, and they ordered every copy be destroyed, but thank God somebody kept a copy of it. So boom, they made the movie.
Yeah, I had a Criterion collection of it, and I saw it a long time ago, and then seeing it again on YouTube because I got rid of a lot of my Criterions, which I wish I didn't do. I got rid of a lot of good ones, rare ones. I even had a Criterion collection of the original RoboCop, the X-rated cut as they called it. But I had so many of them, and watching this on YouTube, I watched it untinted because I remember the tinted. There's two versions. There's a whole bunch of versions. I saw one on YouTube where it had the worst fucking soundtrack, where a lady was going like singing in the background, and I watched first 5 minutes like turn this off. I'm finding another copy. It was horrible. And then I did one with more of like an orchestral score, and I enjoyed that one. But the black and white fucked with me because everything is supposed to be nighttime and it's in the daylight.
That's why silent movies kind of suck, because the eye can pick up like 14 frames per second.
Yeah.
So when they do their hand crank radio shit, like you can only process so much. So when you like realize when crowds are running really fast or things move really fast, it went up to like 17 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's a hit or miss. I mean, because just imagine, this movie is probably the oldest movie we've ever watched in our lives.
Really?
Dude, it's over 100 years old.
That is fucking crazy. 1922. Yeah, it is old, but it wasn't that. Okay, see, I've seen many silent films. I've seen a lot of like the Chaplin films. I love Chaplin. I love a lot of Chaplin films. I love what's his name? The guy that does a lot of stunts. I can't believe I forgot his name. You know who I'm talking about? The guy with the big eyes.
Oh,
you know who I'm talking about. They even had a nice documentary about him. I'll have to look it up real quick. But silent films, I don't mind, because, it was talkies. You had the subtitles in the middle and stuff like that. But when this came out and the whole thing about the daylight and nighttime, that's why the tinted version came out, where it was like almost like a blue color when it was ever night. And it was like almost like a yellowish color whenever it was day. But then there was like greens and stuff like that. Do you think that added to the movie to make it better to see it by nighttime?
Are you referring to Buster Keaton?
Yes, Buster Keaton. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Buster Keaton movies are great.
So, yeah, the original, it does an amazing job for even the black and white aspect that I have and I watch. They do a tremendous job of the shadows, like the different light and darkness and like the effects of that. And just with Count Orlok, obviously, with some of the differences from Dracula to Nosferatu, changing Count Dracula to Count Orlok. You have Jonathan Harker, who is Thomas Hutter. You have Mina Harker, who's Ellen Hunter, for example.
Yeah,
they do a fantastic job. Just even though it's a silent movie of the music and the background, but just for them to capture those their face reactions and the theater acting compared to like the live acting nowadays. But they do a fantastic job with the setting, the mood, just the gothic setting. It was like one of the first gothic movies ever made.
Yes, it was.
Just to show the difference in shadows was just amazing. For me, it's still watchable. I enjoy watching it.
No, I definitely enjoyed it, to the fact where I'd like to actually buy myself a copy of it. And when you're talking about the shadows, that scene where you see the hand going up the stairway, classic scene right there, and just seeing the outline of Count Orlok in the background, and also just seeing a lot of shots. There was a couple shots that made me chuckle though, and I realized in the remake, they kind of missed out on that. I was like, oh, where's that scene where he's putting all the coffins in the back of the wagon, and then he climbs into it and it's going like a speed and everything. I was kind of laughing at that scene. I was like, oh, I wonder how they're going to do this in the new movie. And I didn't see it. It wasn't in there. But,
didn't need it.
I know that. I see. That's the thing. I think it's going to be very interesting talking about the differences between both of them. But we're, like I said, we are doing the remake of Nosferatu, directed by Robert Eggers, just released Christmas Day, and I believe you saw it Christmas Day, right?
I did. The theater was full. I was envious because it was full from back all the way to the front. I sat more to the front because I was waiting to see. Because traditionally, most movies they'll have a day prior release, so I was like waiting to see it Christmas Eve.
Right.
So I got done with all my family stuff in the morning. Then I got tickets to my wife. I'm like, let's go. We got a 7:00 showing. And it was packed. There was only like 4 showings yesterday, like 3:30, 7, a 12, and a 10:30.
See, the funny thing about me is I got fucked with ours. And I should have asked for a refund of the ticket, but I didn't. So, because I walked out because I was so very happy with the movie. I'll talk more into it later on that. But the whole thing about Nosferatu is we had a 1:00 showing over at, I guess, the Paragon Theaters near us. Sammy bought tickets. I asked her to get it 2 weeks right at the top center. I always live back right in the center. Right when we got there, the whole back started filling up to the point where we had every seat was filled up, which I was shocked at. The theater was filling up. Our movie was supposed to start at 1:40. It didn't start till 2:35.
Oh, God bless.
Yeah, so what happened was the theater went black, and it still had the music playing in the background, and everybody's just like, okay, what the fuck? Like, it went black. Like, there was no lights on the ground and like that. It was pitch black in the theater. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And it was like, all right, the movie's 10 minutes late. All right, now it's 15. I walk out of the theater. Some other people walking out of the theater were letting know, hey, the movie's not starting. What's going on here? And I'm like, we're about to get a free movie ticket here because this is fucked up. And we wait and wait. About 45 minutes later, it finally turned on. And we didn't even get to see any previews. Like, they completely skipped out on the previews and went straight to the movie. I think I missed like the first minute because I walked in and it was finally starting.
Jesus.
But yeah, we didn't have a good
experience.
Thank you. Experience in the theater that day. And usually that theater is not bad, but yeah, it was late. I think they said they had to reset their thing and everything else, but we got to see it because I was getting pissed off. I was like, man, I have a show to do. I want to get that. I want to watch this movie. I've been excited about this movie since the beginning of the year because that was actually on my tasting room for the top 5 movies, anticipated movies. So I've been excited about this one, and man, I was.
So the Lord works in mysterious ways. That's only happened to me once at the Alamo. It was for the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Mm-hmm. A thunderstorm happened, and it knocked the power out. So I just got like maybe 20, 30 minutes in, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, F this, I'm leaving. Like,
I can see you doing that. I can see you being like, I'm not fucking with this. I'm going home and everything else. But I'm shocked that we stayed. I think a couple people did leave, but yeah, I've never been to a 40-minute wait for a movie to start. So I don't know what the hell happened, but we watched it. And I even said to myself, I was like, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to complain. Hey, we got to see the movie, but it was 40 minutes. I'd like to have a free movie ticket. But I was so happy when I was walking out after seeing the movie that I completely walked out the parking lot. I was like, oh, fuck, I should ask for a free movie ticket. But
so what were people saying around you? That's what I'm most curious about. Because I heard some mixed reviews. I was arguing with people. My wife was like, stop, let's go home. Like,
well, see, that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing is that right after the movie, I even said, I enjoyed this movie, but I could see a lot of people are not going to because I'm sure people are expecting a Bram Stoker's like remake, like a Dracula remake. Like, what the fuck is this shit? And seeing all kinds of differences. Yeah. And I enjoyed it because after seeing the original, it made me love it even more. And that's the thing. I've seen the original a long time ago, but it's been such a long time that I only remember glimpses of it. I've seen scenes of it in movies, but seeing it now, like 2 or 3 days prior to the movie, it made me appreciate it. Now, hearing other people when I was walking out of the theater, some people were saying, "Oh, I liked it. It was good," and some people were like, "That didn't seem right." Like, people were complaining. Some people were complaining. It was mixed feelings from people from what I saw.
Yeah, I got into an argument with this one girl. There's a couple, and I guess their friend who was a third wheel. They were both like gasping about like it was a 10 out of 10, and the girl was like, "It's a 6 out of 10." I'm like, "Excuse me, what was wrong with it?" She's like, "It was too long." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, do you not enjoy storytelling? And both the guys are laughing hysterically, and I'm always like, "All right, let's go." You
know what I felt? I felt like that. Go ahead.
So then I was walking to the bathroom. Yeah. And these couple of girls were talking about it because I fell asleep about halfway through. I'm like, oh, just keep walking.
See, I felt like that before when I saw Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
I saw that because Blade Runner is one of my top 10 movies. I love that movie, and I went to see the sequel at the theater. People were walking out of the theater. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was my type of movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very true, good sequel to the original. And people walking outside of me, they've never seen probably the original Blade Runner. And I remember I was talking to a couple. They said, "Did you?" And because they were saying they didn't like it. I said, "So why didn't you like it?" And they said, "It didn't make any sense." He said, "Have you seen the original Blade Runner?" I'm like, no. Why? It's like, well, you got to watch the original to understand everything that's going on and stuff like that. But it's weird how people on this opinion, and seeing this movie in the theater, I already knew for a fact that this isn't for anybody. This isn't for everybody. A lot of people will not like this movie because they're expecting, even from the trailer makes it look like it's a Bram Stoker's Dracula remake. That's what the trailer makes it seem like.
It makes it look like a Nosferatu remake.
But there are scenes of Bram Stoker's Dracula where people might get excited, I think.
Yes, like the Alamo, like pre-showing, they showed a lot of the Dracula scenes that like kind of like compared to it or the original. So they had fun with that. But I love how they show the history of, like, the Nosferatu, then Bram Stoker's Dracula, then just a bunch of other like random vampire movies. Like they brought up like Hammer Films, Christopher Lee, just the mantle of Dracula and where it's gone from. It was a fantastic history lesson.
They did that before the movie?
Every movie that they do something special wise. If it's like that special, they'll go far to it, like the history wise, from like Nosferatu, Max Schreck playing his fantastic portrayal of Count Orlok, then to Bela Lugosi, then the people after him, then the Christopher Lee, and then there's apparently like a version that came out in 1932 that was like a lesbian vampire scene, but it's Denmark. Mm-hmm. So they went to that movie like saying what happened here, and then they jumped to the timeline. So then obviously now today, so
interesting. See, that's the thing, because there's been a lot of Bram Stoker Dracula movies. I think there's like over like 10. I remember quote to Angry Video Game Nerd, he did an episode on all the different Dracula movies, which are the good and the bads of each of the movies and stuff like that. And Nosferatu, to me, I don't see it being as Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think it's a completely separate story. Yes, it has some of the themes, but it has a completely different ending. It has a lot of things changed around. It just borrows a couple things from it. Would you say it's a true Bram Stoker's Dracula adaptation, or would you say it's a Nosferatu, like a brand new, different version? I mean, what would you say?
It's an adaptation. I see why Florence Stoker got upset by it, trying to copy off the book, which hadn't been no movie made. Mm-hmm. So I can see why she's upset. I know they changed some characters around. They changed the location, obviously, from, Transylvania, but that origin, they moved like to more of a German origin.
Yeah. So
I can see why. It's an adaptation. They changed some things around story-wise, but it works.
I think it was great. So I guess let's go ahead and get into it. I mean, we're, like I said, we've been back and forth on the original movie and the new one, but your first experience watching this, you've seen all of Robert Eggers' films, right? You've seen,
of course,
The Witch, The Northman,
The Lighthouse,
which I love. The Lighthouse. I think it's great. I think it's something weird, interesting. I love the whole but I believe this movie was also full screen, because looking at the theater, did it feel like a full screen format?
Oh, yes.
That's what I thought it was. Okay. See, I when I was watching it, I could see the bars on the right and left side. I was like, yeah, you can see it squeezed in. This is full screen format, which he likes to use. He did that for Lighthouse. I don't think he did that on The Witch, but I know he didn't do it on Northman either. But the thing is about all four of his movies now, I saw The Witch and I didn't care for it when I first saw it. I gave it a second watch and then a third watch, and now I really appreciate it more, to the point where I watched Lighthouse, and then The Northman I fucking love. Like, I love The Northman. So when I saw the trailer for this and I saw how much Robert Eggers puts into his movies, the details, the research he does for everything, I was excited. Doing a complete remake of Nosferatu, I was like, this isn't Bram Stoker's Dracula. He's doing his own vampire movie remake. But, oh man, visually, this movie was beautiful. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, so how would you rank them then?
Rank the Robert Eggers films? Northman's gonna be number one on my list.
Why start number one? Start 4.
I always do that. I don't know why. I'd probably do The Witch, Lighthouse, Nosferatu, and The Northman. Gotcha. I have a strong love for The Northman. I smile so much when I see that movie. I love it so much. And The Lighthouse is fun. Nosferatu will be probably one of my favorite horror remakes ever made. I think it is beautiful, amazing. I thought Bill Skarsgård was amazing. Bill Skarsgård knocked it out of the park, and that fucking voice was so freaking amazing. And the thing is, because you never got to hear Nosferatu's voice, because it was a silent film before, so you never knew what he sounded like.
So obviously, Ron's mentioned The Northman. Check out episode 80 for Barrel Age Flicks. That was a tremendous episode. Hot take. It was Ron, Sammy, Ragnar, and Snow did a fantastic job. It's always fun. It's always fun to hear Ragnar speak, the Viking language, the difficult names.
He did do that. I remember every single time Fjornir. It was something like that. Yes. And every single time I was like, Ragnar, and then he would say it. I remember. I think we also we reviewed a mead for that one too. That was a good episode. That was a very fun episode.
So all his movies, they do a fantastic job. Just the scenery, just the balance they have, the scenery, the amazing cast they have. So if I would rank them, I'd rank The Lighthouse, The Witch, The Northman, and Nosferatu.
Oh, so Nosferatu is your number one.
Oh yes. So it's funny. Some of the questions I was asking afterwards, I'm like, is this really a Christmas movie?
Technically, it is.
it's a reference, but I'm like, I don't know if I can watch this on Christmas. I can watch this like, you know, the darker days, like, you know, December, January, the longer days.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know if I can watch this on Christmas.
No, technically, this very much so. I could watch any Christmas now because, you know, you watch it on the day of Christmas. I watch the day after Christmas, but when they had the little scene with the Christmas tree in the background, the old-fashioned tree with the candles and everything, I was like, oh, this is a Christmas movie. You know, they always have that thing, you know, like Die Hard and shit, fucking Rambo. It's got a Christmas tree. It's a Christmas movie. So now people can say Nosferatu is a Christmas movie. So that's a good.
You reference Bill Skarsgård's voice. It took him 6 weeks of training to raise his voice another octave up.
Yeah.
So he would record his voice, and like he said, it was like Mongolian throat exercises that he was doing.
Uh-huh.
Just to raise that
roll in it, that roll in the back part of the dialogue, basically.
Yeah.
That I don't know how you do it, but
it's like a German, but it's like it was fantastic to hear him do it. It was just amazing.
And the fact that you said that, because I never did the research for the movie. I wanted to make sure if it was actually him doing the voice.
It was.
He knocked it out of the park, because as soon as they go up into the table and they're, you know, he's with Harker, right?
Yeah, it starts off even with it. Hutter, Thomas Hutter.
That's right. Yeah.
So even in the beginning of the movie, where he's like, you start the intro of the Kim and Johnny Depp's daughter, Ellen Hunter,
Lily Rose Depp, I think.
Yeah. So with him speaking like her to get her, like, you know, attention, like whatever spell is happening, it was fantastic to hear him speaking German. So it was really cool.
Oh man, I even the look of him, because you don't really see him in the beginning of the movie, and like I said, this is full of spoilers right here. Spoilers. So I'll say it in the description of the episode. So hopefully you guys know that this is all spoilers right here. But the look of him in the beginning, you see it. It's just darkness. You don't see much of his face. And then you start to see him more and more in the movie. And the look, Bram Stoker's Dracula has always had in the book a mustache. A mustache was actually on Dracula in this. The way they did it, because it looked like he had his hair like parted on the side, but he was like bald, and you could tell that he was all right. He was basically a corpse. That's basically what he looked like, especially when you see him at the end when he's laying on top of her. His one of his legs is just like basically skeletal, basically, to the point. That I did not. I don't know if they, because in Nosferatu, it mainly the way he looked in Nosferatu. If you've never seen the original, but I suggest it and I recommend you go see it, and definitely see it before the movie, because it actually makes it better in my opinion. But is more of like a white pale face. Have you ever seen the movie Shadow of the Vampire?
Yeah, that's why Willem Dafoe's in there as well. He plays Max Schreck.
Malkovich too. Yeah. Basically just a white bald head, and he's got like hair behind his ears, like going up, almost like balding, some type of thing, but like really like tall, very long fingernails and the eyes, and then the two buck teeth, basically vampire, like the middle almost.
Like Salem's Lot, but not as over dramatized.
Yeah, and this one, it's more of like a I don't know how to say
he's
it. He looked like
an old nobleman.
Yes,
like a noble person. Like, so he came from the city in Germany called Wiesberg.
Mm-hmm.
So then he came to Transylvania, and he was stuck there. That was his natural ground. So I love the whole origin to go into the movie. You know, with Thomas Hutter going through and like you doing his whole bit. I think this is the first time I've seen a vampire go for someone's heart. Have you seen any like other adaptation of that going on? No. Usually it's always the neck. And this one, you see the pinholes right in the chest area of the heart. Yeah. That's one scene where he's actually on top of him in the castle before he runs out the window and stuff like that, getting chased by the wolves. You see his body on top of him. And basically, there's like just you could hear the gulping sounds are like really intense. You could hear just like basically like almost like drinking out of a milkshake out of his chest and everything. But no, I've never heard of the heart. I don't even recall that in the original. Was that in the original too? No. So that was something that they did differently. Yeah. What do you think is better? I mean, do you think the neck or the heart is a better place for the blood? Because I would think the neck, because the artery is right there, is always flowing, but the heart is always pumping.
But the neck is more seductive.
That's Hollywood's, Hollywoodized.
Yeah, they make it more of a seductive. For the heart, it's more. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was very interesting in how he did it. And the fact is that it didn't give him life. Like, it didn't make him more powerful. It didn't make him look any better. He still looked exactly the same. So I thought that was a different interpretation of it. Like, do you feel like his look was better than what they have made Hollywoodized all the other Draculas and vampires in other movies where they've made them all like slick hair and beautiful and sexy and stuff like that? This guy was, which I actually remember reading reviews saying, very gross, very disgusting, not a good looking vampire.
Wow. So according to like vampire folklore, some vampires, they go for your heart.
Really?
It's there's different. That's the two different versions. But yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen it on the big screen.
Well, then Robert Eggers probably did his research, finding that himself to put that in the movie, because that's one thing Robert Eggers is really known for, is putting a lot of research into his movies. Just everything, especially with the Romanian village and the he visits before he goes to Count Orlok's castle and everything.
The gypsies, I love that, the whole scene, like incorporating them, just to give you like that feel. It's like the the Universal movies, with the Wolfman, and there's obviously scenes with Dracula, the werewolves. But I love that whole connection. It felt whole to me.
What did you think of the gothic, like the look of the castle, especially that scene where it's showing them going to the castle? Kind of reminded me of Bram Stoker's Dracula, Gary Oldman's version, where you see the castle in the background. Did you think that was, and also the color of the film? That's another thing I want to ask about. But what did you think of the castle?
Oh, the castle was authentic. It was a Honduras castle. This is where Vlad the Impaler was held prisoner. So it's an authentic castle in, where is it? Romanian castle in Transylvania. So he picked that location on purpose, and it fit the movie perfectly. And but the tone overall, the tone of the movie, they did a fantastic job. I mean, he took the original and made it 1,000 times better, just capturing the shadows. Even though there is some color, it is almost a black and white film. But just to capture the shadows and like him moving through, you don't have to see the whole bat flying and shit. But I mean, just him, the evil spreading, and just the rats and the plague, and just that symbolism of death coming. It was fantastic.
Yeah, see that when you say that the movie's almost black and white, I can understand what you're saying, because a lot of other movies done that, where it's basically almost like a filter, like Sleepy Hollow does it. Sweeney Todd, where it's basically, it's color, but it's like a black and white color, but it's like very mid color. Like, I don't want to say like a more weaker of the brighter colors and making it more like a darkish grayish color. But what I loved about it is that it had a lot of blues. There was a lot of blues in there. There was a lot of grays and blacks. It fit just like the tinted version of the original, in my opinion. And wasn't any like brightness and everything else. There was some scenes, I don't know how your theater is, where it was hard to see. Like, it was so dark, it was hard to see.
Not at all.
Yeah, then maybe our theater is not as good, because there were some scenes where I was like squinting at the screen. I even had my glasses on, and I was still having a hard time seeing it. And I know in watching it when it comes out digitally, I'll watch it on my TV. I'll probably see a little bit difference, but I don't know if your theater has a difference in the way that does that. But there were scenes that were very rough and hard to see. So.
Nope, not at all. Thank God.
That's probably a bad theater then that I have. You got to. I need to come to your place and go to a movie at one point, especially when you got history playing in the beginning before to the movie that relates to the movie. That's pretty fucking neat.
Oh, every movie they do that. I mean, whether the main character, his prior movies, or if it's a big movie like this, they'll go into deep history. It's amazing. Yeah.
What did you think of Aaron Taylor Johnson?
I love how he's getting his run now. He's fantastic actor. No, just in a few months. I mean, he has Craven Hunter out. That's in theaters. He just has this coming out. He's in 28 years later.
Yeah, you're right.
So the run he's on. I mean, he's an amazing actor. I'm so happy for him. Okay. Before this was what, Bullet Train?
He was good in that.
Yeah,
he was great in that. Like, that is the only, and you probably disagree with me. From what I can tell, you already do. That's the only part that bothered me in this movie. Was there was some scenes where I felt his acting was a little rough. That's the only thing that bothered me. I remember walking out with Sammy on this, and there were some scenes where his acting didn't work for me on certain scenes, like when he was arguing with Willem Dafoe's character and everything else, the professor, and also before he basically went to the cemetery to see his dead wife in the coffin and everything. His acting was a little rough, but everybody else was great. I wouldn't say it's like very bad, but you wouldn't agree? You thought his acting was great for this?
I thought it was fantastic. He was playing his character. He got into his character mode. He was a father, husband. He was a ship man. So he played that part well, being of wealth. He came from wealth. He had money. So he had a big house, he had the servants, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I loved, have you seen that movie, the Voyage of the Demeter? The ship movie recently?
No, I've never seen that one.
Oh, but yeah, the part with the boat, I love that scene. It was better than that whole entire movie, except for like Dismastian.
Yeah.
He was in that movie, and that's the best part of it for me. But the entire movie is on the boat where Nosferatu is coming to England or coming to Germany.
Oh, okay. I heard you, Ron. You talking about the last voyage of the Dementor?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did see that. I thought you were talking about something else. I thought I heard you wrong. No, I did see that. I actually watched that. I'd say probably the beginning of December. I remember I downloaded and watched it, and me and Sammy both watched it, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. Not as good as this. This was by far better. I thought that the ending with Dracula at the end, when you see him inside the restaurant or everything else with the cane and everything, I thought that was really cool. It kind of made me want to like, God damn it, I know this movie's just about that little sentence in the book, but I wish you continued to see what happens and goes on.
Exactly.
But Nicholas Hoult, though, see, I think you say how Aaron Taylor Johnson's rose from him. Ever since the first movie I saw him in, which was Mad Max Fury Road. And now I see him in just about every single movie. I know he's in some other movie called Warm Bodies or something like that, where it's like a
zombie love story. It's a zombie love story.
Zombie. I've never seen it, but I heard that was. Is it good?
No, I haven't seen it either.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen the trailer. Like I more know him from like the Beast and X-Men Origins. Yeah.
Well, so there's another X-Men, or another person in here from Deadpool versus Wolverine.
I know. Good old Cassandra Nova.
Yeah, I was a little. The thing is, when I watched this movie in the theater, I was like, God damn it, how the fuck do I know who this chick is? Like, she looks so fucking familiar. And I was like watching the movie all throughout. I was like, man, she's pretty. Blonde hair and everything else. And then I look online, it's like, oh, she's the bald chick in Deadpool versus Wolverine. I was like, okay, now I see it. I was like trying to figure out where she came from, but I thought she did a very good job. It was her fucking death sucked though, and all the rats on her and everything.
Yeah. For a second, I thought she was Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss. Why is that familiar to me?
The Invisible Man. She's in the Housemaid's Tale.
Oh yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, I could see that. I could see the resemblance. Yeah. She was also, I believe, she was also in Get Him to the Greek. She was the girlfriend to Jonah Hill from Get Him to the Greek. I don't know if you ever seen that.
Oh yeah.
But no, the other actors, Willem Dafoe is always great. The other actor that I really enjoyed, you probably have the name in front of you because I don't have my phone in front of me, but he was also in The Witch. I think he's also been cast as Galactus, I believe.
Yes, he's also The Witch. He's been in no, he wasn't in The Northman.
He wasn't in The Lighthouse. He wasn't in I don't think he was in The Northman.
So Ralph Ineson?
Yes. Yeah.
The Green Knight. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I heard mixed things about it. I just never finished it. Never got to finishing it. I heard
the remake of The First Omen. That's what I last saw him in.
Okay, I see. I've seen him in a lot of other movies. I remember he was also in First Night. Sean Connery and Richard Gere. Yeah, okay. I don't know if you remember that movie. He was in that. That was the first movie I saw him in. But I really enjoyed him as kind of like the protege to Willem Dafoe, the professor, and everything. I enjoyed his character, but he's also just got a great voice. I love his voice in the movies that he's done because he was great in The Witch. And now knowing that he's going to play Galactus, I think that'll work out pretty good. I don't know the Galactus character. I know he's a very big Marvel character, but
oh yes, big bad.
Yeah. So another choice is, like I said, Bill Skarsgård. That guy is just fucking all over Hollywood now. It is just crazy how much he rose from being in Stephen King's It to being in the John Wick movies to being in this. And then he was also in the movie, I'm sure you've seen Barbarian, which everybody thought he was the villain and he really wasn't. I don't want to, sorry, I'm fucking it up for everybody. Whoever sees that movie, I'm going to erase that. But
he was in the Crow remake, Boy Kills World.
I don't care to see that whatsoever. You didn't see it, did you?
No.
Are you going to? I mean,
no.
As being a movie critic, I figured you'd want to watch it. We can do a bad review on it and see how bad it really is.
The day it's on streaming and I have a ton of liquor, I will drink it.
it's free and easy to watch. Oh, that's great.
But I remember the first show he was on. It was called a show called Hemlock Grove, where he was the vampire in that TV show.
No shit. I didn't know he was a vampire in that. And it's crazy because the Skarsgårds, it's just, I don't know what it is, but he's just, his acting is legit. Like you said, the Count Orlok doing that voice, like you said, when he did like the voice coaching and everything else. I didn't think it was him. I thought it was somebody else doing his voice. And the fact that you're saying it's doing his voice, he's doing that voice, makes me love him even more and figure out that the casting for him was perfect. Do you feel like he was great casting for that role?
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, his dedication to anything, like him, just for his mindset. I watched an interview where he said, like, yeah, I'm done playing this kind of evil character. I don't want to go to that depth ever again. From Pennywise the Clown to this, it was like, yeah, I don't want to do that again.
No, he said that this movie actually truly scared him being this character. But did you hear the gift that he gave to Nicholas Hoult?
No.
Oh yeah, it was all over social media. I saw it today. I was like, I'm going to bring it up on the show. So Nicholas Hoult got a framed a piece of the cock piece that he wore, framed as a gift from Bill Skarsgård. The fake dick basically he had to wear, because you see where, because you actually see him rise out of the coffin, which the coffin was beautiful. I thought the coffin looked great, very tall and very narrow. I really like how the coffin looked, but yeah, that was a little gift to Nicholas Hoult, and he's got a picture of him wearing his costume, smiling, holding it right here. Yeah, look it up online. You'll see what I'm talking about. But, and then I thought the score was beautiful too. I thought the score to this movie was great. I thought everything about this movie was so good for a gothic. See, a lot of people say this is an art house film. Would you say this is an art house film?
Art house? You mean like A24?
No, like art house, like basically like very artsy, very like, if some people are not into it, it's not for everybody type of deal.
No, this is a perfect gothic horror movie. It uses the scenery to make the movie even better. The cast was amazing, storytelling. It's almost a perfect movie.
Now, what scenes would you say? Is there anything in the movie you did not like, or that you felt like a flaw? Like I already told you, my flaw that I thought was the acting of Aaron Taylor Johnson. I thought that some of his acting was a little rough on it. Was there anything in this movie negative that you have to say? I mean, not unless you think this is a completely perfect film.
No, I wish I got more. I was a little confused. I have to watch it again, but like the whole origin of the Ellen Hunter bringing Nosferatu to life.
Mm-hmm.
That whole like scene where he's saying his love for her and like how she saved him, she brought him back. It left me wondering. I'm like, wait, how? Like, where is this a prequel to something else now? So that's one part I was confused by, and like, but yeah, I guess that's about it right now. I can think of right now, top of my head.
See that scene right there? I think that's when you think of a remake's not going to be a complete remake. It's going to have stuff added to it to add to it. You know, people don't want to see the same thing. There's some new stuff added to it. There's going to be stuff that's been taken out. Like the whole story about Herr Nock. Nock, basically the guy that went crazy that sent him over to Count Orlok so he can repurchase his land and everything. In the original, I remember him being chased and being thought that he was the vampire and that he was killing everybody. In this one, that wasn't the effect. He he escaped the asylum, and then he ended up going to his master, Count Orlok, which that wasn't in the original. They never got to exist with each other. They never got to talk to each other, basically. You could tell that they changed things on that, basically where Herr Nock was sitting in the coffin that they thought that Count Orlok was in. That wasn't in the original. The original, they were hunting him down like they thought that he was the part of the plague, that he was the one that was killing and murdering everybody. Yeah. Did you notice the difference in that?
I liked it. It was a different change to the pace of the story, how the pace of the movie was going. I enjoyed that whole different part to it. I was looking up the composer of it, Robin Corlin. He also did Salem's Lot. But yeah, you said composer. I'm like, wait, who was the composer? I missed that.
You're talking about the remake of Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
The one that was that came on streaming. Okay, gotcha.
But no, I like the different variation of, you know, the Knock character having all the satanic stuff there, and him, whatever deal he had with Nosferatu. And I appreciate that storyline being different. And, like, you know, obviously Egger is, like, taking so much of a historical facts, like the folklore and stuff like that, and bringing a story and making it pace well. I appreciate that. So I didn't care for the difference.
Yeah, that scene where they're looking inside the book and they see that picture with the beast on top of the, you know, the woman laying in bed, naked in bed, and the beast on top. I was like, this is going to be a scene. This is something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
The death of Nosferatu at the end, I thought was, okay, in the original, what happens? It's daylight. He walks to the window, and it's that shot where he's just putting his hand up, and then he just disappears. Simple and easy. He disappears. The light kills him, just like light would kill any vampire. This one was actually more dramatic because he's on top of her. You know, she's naked. He's sucking basically on her heart. He's on top, or his body's on top of her. And then when the sun comes, he knows it's coming, and then she kind of just pulls him to keep feeding on her. And he's going for it. And then he looks at it, and you just see his eyes roll back white, and you just see him just die. But he doesn't fade. He doesn't turn to ash or anything like that. He just dies and just falls right. His body just falls on her, which I thought was very different for a vampire, because most vampires, they evaporate, blow up, and turn to ash. He just basically just died.
His life force left.
Yes. I actually like that version better than other ones when it comes to vampires, because I think it's been overused too much. I mean, you gotta remember, like, Blade movies, they fucking explode and turn to little skeletons and everything else. I mean, some of it's cool and everything, but this one just seemed more realistic in a way, I guess, the way that he died. And seeing his eyes roll back white. Oh, and plus you got to see him in the light, like, perfect. And it was just like, I thought the look of him was great. I thought he was actually it was a very different take on the Nosferatu character compared to the original one, being just like a white. And you've seen the Werner Herzog version, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it, but I went on YouTube to look at scenes from it, and I know Werner Herzog directed it and everything else, but it's done by an actor that's got big eyes and everything else. It looked like a complete remake of the original. How is it compared to this? I'm just curious, because if you said you've seen all the way through, what do you think of that one?
So yeah, Joe Bob Briggs last year he did
that one too.
Yeah, it was a back-to-back feature. Did Nosferatu, the 22 since 100 years old. Then he did the Herzog remake, and it was in 1978. So I love when I watch a movie and you watch it, and then he breaks it down afterwards. He'll have like an actor or like more stuff in the background that's going on, why it was a ripoff from Nosferatu and stuff like that. Right. But it's pretty much a German remake of it. Trying to give more appreciation to it. I mean, it's okay. It's not the best movie, but it's not bad.
Is that one like a shot-for-shot remake, though? Is there any added scenes, or is it basically shot-for-shot remake of the original?
I'd say about 90% shot-for-shot. There's a few other creative interpretations.
Okay. What did you think? The one thing that I also was a little sad about in this movie that I wish they would have added more is more of being on the ship. They didn't really show that much on the ship. And I was hoping they would show like an iconic scene, like a scene where would she see a character, or being the shadow, like from the underneath, looking at the top when he's like walking the deck of the boat and stuff like that, because they did that in the original. I was curious if they're going to do it in this one, and they didn't even bother with that. In fact, it didn't even bother with his coffins going on the raft and everything else. It was all of a sudden just on the boat. Like, there were some scenes where it just like jumped way too fast to another scene. So that's why the little, flaw that I wish that they would have fixed. I think the pacing went a little too fast on things. I think they should have drawn it out more, but I don't know. This movie didn't seem that long. Do you feel like this movie seemed long to you, or do you feel like it was a perfect length? I think it was 2 hours and 16 minutes.
240.
I believe so.
220. It was 232. 2 hours and 12 minutes. It did feel long to me. It did feel long to me, but I appreciated it. Like, there were some parts where I felt like it like slowed down way too much. I was like, wow. I was like in my head thinking, what time is it? Like, how much more is left? Like, what's left to remain?
Yeah.
But it didn't bother me from the movie. I enjoyed it. I would imagine if there's ever a director's cut, who knows? It could be over 3 hours long. I'd definitely still watch it.
But, yeah, I agree with you on that. I like director's cuts. I like extended cuts. A lot of people don't like long movies. I do. I don't mind it. To to me, it didn't feel. I felt like there could have been more to it, but I wish they would have, like I said, the whole thing with the ship and everything. But I think the original is only like 80 minutes, maybe it's like 80 or 70 minutes or something like that. I wonder if you had the runtime of the original. I think it's like 70 or 80 minutes.
Wow. 1 hour and 21 minutes.
What was that?
1 hour and 21 minutes.
So 81 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, so about the same. Yeah, that's what I thought, about 81 minutes, which a lot of silent films were actually shorter than that. So actually that was pretty long for its time. But because you got to remember all the scenes when they're playing, every single piece of subtitle is usually lasting on the screen because it's usually like a long paragraph. It could be there for almost like a solid like 30, 40 seconds or something like that. So you make sure you get it all. But I did like how the original movie had like the Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. That could have been cool if they added that into that, but added that into this. But I'm surprised they didn't. I'm just Robert Eggers, because I figured that he might have added that into it. But no, I guess, would you have minded if that was in there or not?
Didn't need it.
Didn't need it?
Because what the purpose was to give a pause for the audience to collect your breaths?
I don't know. I mean, why did they do it in the past?
For the
just like a chapter marker, basically. I mean, that's basically what it is.
Well, like some of the movies back then, like the audience had a break or something like that. If it was too scary for them, yeah.
With the intermission, basically, the whole purpose of that was so people can go use the bathroom, go get themselves a snack or something like that. It's usually on the long, like biblical movies or 3-4 hours, because movies back in the 60s and 50s were like 4 hours to 3 hours long. I mean, they were expansive. And to the point where even Oliver Stone put an intermission in his Alexander movie, his long final cut, to make it feel like the old films from the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. Although the intermission in that movie is only like 30 seconds long. It's not like where it's like 2 or 3 minutes where it plays like a long whole piece score and stuff like that. So, so any other things you want to talk about this movie? Any other things that you think about that you enjoyed or did not enjoy? Or the special effects I thought were great. I thought that the special effects were beautiful. I mean, I thought the rats, they did really well with the rats. You couldn't tell much CGI in this movie. It looked very practical in a lot of things. I don't know. Robert Eggers doesn't really use that much CGI in his movies from what I've seen.
No. So the budget was about like less than 50 million.
Which is not a bad budget, actually.
I hope this movie makes money. So far in 2 days, it's made almost 20 million.
Which is shocking for Christmas Day.
I know. It's like, how much you hate your family? How much you want to get away from that?
I wasn't going to go see it on Christmas Day. You did it. I saw it the day after Christmas, but the theater was packed for what I saw. I mean, other than waiting for 40 minutes. I don't know how many shows they did, but I think this movie...
Hopefully, like word of mouth happens and people go see it this weekend.
See, that's the thing. That's what I just said. Word of mouth. People might say that if you're expecting a Bram Stoker's Dracula movie, don't see it, because I've seen people say that online already, where it's like people are expecting like a nice romantic, because this is a gothic romance, but in a different way. People are expecting something very beautiful and very dark and horrifying, and that's not what this movie is. This is a remake of the original, and I will tell people in this review that we're doing right here, see the original before you watch this movie. See the original. I think it will change your opinion. If you see this out of the blue with not watching the original, I think a lot of people are not going to like it. That's just what my opinion. I think this is not a movie for everybody, but I could be wrong. But I do think seeing the original does help raise the opinion level on this movie.
I can see how, or see why as well. But so the Bram Stoker's Dracula is what the runtime is 2 hours and 7 minutes long.
You're talking about the Gary Oldman version?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that movie. Even though I picked that movie and everybody hated me for picking it because I ruined it apparently for everybody. Because they watched. I don't know if you ever listened to that episode. That was our one of our Halloween episodes, our Bloodbath episodes, where we did a lot of vampires. And I picked Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Stu and even Ragnar was saying, "Oh, that's a good movie. I'm looking forward to doing that." And then after they watched the movie and did the review, they're like, I hate you, Ron. I hate you." I was like, why? Because this movie is stupid. Like, they hated it watching it a second time. What is your opinion about it? Are you a fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I have to watch it again.
Oh, see, yeah, if you've listened to that review. I got so much hate for making everybody watch that movie at this age. They hated it this time because they thought it was not a good movie.
So all of our fans, that's episode 111.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a fun one. That was, and I remember we did absinthe for the drink too. That was a fun episode. But yeah, I got a lot of hate for that one. I personally like that movie. I even like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with directed by Kenneth Branagh with Robert De Niro as Frankenstein.
Wow,
I enjoy it. I don't. Some people may. I think it's a very good adaptation, which I'm excited as fuck for Guillermo del Toro's version of Frankenstein. I'm looking forward to seeing that in the theater. I will see that in the theater most likely. So, which actually at the end of this episode, I want you to give me your top 5 films that you were most anticipating. By the way, for next year.
Okay,
if you can.
I'll put it down. So, give you a review.
Yeah. See, we did an episode. And I feel like I want to hear what your top 5 films that you'd like to see, because there's a lot of different films coming out. I'm really curious about yours. So, other than that, yeah, I think we pretty much nailed this out. So, what do you think? You ready for the review? The pilot reviews on this one? I
go first. I got to type out my top 5.
Okay. All right. Man, you're gonna make me go first because I wanted to hear yours first. All right,
you asked me this question I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah, I know. I should have asked you prior to, so maybe I should take a punishment shot for that because I didn't really give you the time to research that. No, for this movie, for Nosferatu, the enjoyment for this movie is going to be a 5. Believe it or not, it is a 5. I love horror films. I think that I really like gothic romance, gothic horror films, gothic anything. I mean, when it comes to like Sleepy Hollow, when it comes to movies with that, the dark undertones, the nice shadowy effects, the beautiful music and everything else, but it's horror. I really enjoy that. I even like Phantom of the Opera, which is a musical. I don't mind that one, and it is a gothic romance. But this is, to me, the visuals. The direction, Robert Eggers' direction has never failed me so far. And I've enjoyed all 4 of his movies. I'm looking forward to whatever he does next for his 5th movie. And the fact is he only got 5 movies on his filmography, and the fact that they've all been great, just well reviewed and done so well. But I thought that all the acting in this movie, other than Aaron Taylor Johnson, is the only little flaw, but it doesn't take away from the movie for me. I just noticed it's like, not as good. But overall, everybody else was just amazing. Willem Dafoe was wonderful. Bill Skarsgård nailed it as Count Orlok. I thought the sound in this movie, especially like the gulping effects when he's sucking on the blood of his victims and everything. Everything about this movie is pure. I mean, gorgeous. I love it. I think I was very happy watching this, like sitting in the movie theater and looking at the screen and smiling. Basically, when I am smiling watching a movie, I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and I'm glad to add this to one of my favorites. For my critical for this movie, though, I would probably give this. See, I wanted to give this a 5, and I'm still tempted on doing it because of the acting of Aaron Taylor Johnson. But I also said that it doesn't take it away from me, because to me, like, Northman was a 5 out of 5, and even Lighthouse is a 5 out of 5. His direction is so great that there's really nothing to nitpick. I mean, we've nitpicked a little bit here on the pacing, on some things being a little slow here and there. Some scenes I felt like I kind of wanted to see in there that were taken from the original. But altogether, it still worked out and still was a well done movie. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to nitpick this. So that's why I don't think I can I'm still tempted. You know what? Screw it. I'm giving it a 5. It's going to be a 5 critical. I think the stuff that's in it, and a lot of people say that it's a perfect movie has to be a 5 for critical. But the thing is there could be something, and if it doesn't take away from it, it gets to you, but it doesn't take away from the film, then I'm not gonna ding it for that. So I will give it a 5 for critical and a 5 for enjoyment, which I don't know. I'm probably gonna get a lot of shit for it, but it's a beautiful movie, and I look forward to watching it again, to the point where I'd like to go to the theater and see it again. I actually want to go to the Alamo and see it and see what this, the history stuff that you play in the beginning, because someday I'm going to have to come over there to the Alamo with you and see it. So I'm going to go ahead and,
make it happen. It's It's like what, an hour from your house?
It's about 45 minutes. I've passed through there many times when I used to work for Watsontown. It wasn't too far out.
It's the same distance from my house.
Oh yeah, which is about an hour or 40 minutes.
About 45 minutes.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be too bad. I take all the back roads and stuff like that. I already know the back roads to get over there, Route 17. So yeah, I definitely make it happen. Huh?
That's the way I take to get into your house.
I just wish that some of the movies that you have that are released like on a Saturday or a Sunday. I wish it was like on a Saturday. It's always during the week.
Osaka Cinema? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what because you've told me of so many movies I missed. I think The Thing. I think it was Alien, I believe, that I missed.
It was, Alien.
And I think, wasn't it like Star Trek 2 Wrath of Khan or something like that? I remember.
Oh, yeah. We always show that a lot.
Yeah. I would love to see that in the theater because that's one of my favorite Star Trek movies right there. But I need to get out there. I just wish it would be on a Saturday. But you know what? I have a feeling I'm going to have a lot more free Fridays now. So, but we'll figure it out because I still want you to let me know the schedule so I can see something because I would love to go see a movie with you over there, man.
We'll give that to you.
All right. So let's go ahead and get to your review.
Well, first, my top 25 movies for the next year.
Oh, I figured you would say that. Sorry.
I'll start it now.
Okay.
So I am excited to see Mortal Kombat 2. I'm very much looking forward to the tournament actually starting.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be fun to rewatch and be like, God bless, this was bad. And then finally start the tournament. That should be fun. So I hope it's good. Fantastic Four. I have a soft spot for the first family of Marvel, but I'm a deep comic book nerd, Stu, and I have that kinship. I'm very excited
though. I'm surprised because you said that you really weren't excited about many of the MCU films.
I'm excited for this one. I was keeping I have to keep my excitement even keel. I'm excited for the cast. I'm curious of you've seen the origin twice now, so I'm curious to see how they take this because most of the fan base they know the origin. So let's get right to it. They're going to do Galactus right. I know they have a female doing Silver Surfer 2 or Silver Surfer, so I'm like, I can hopefully let that slide by me. Because there is a comic version where she is a female or Silver Surfer is a female. So unless you're a comic book nerd or hear it through whatever channel, then we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's made good.
From what I hear, there's a female version of almost every other character out there. I'm sure they have a different gender of every character in a comic book world. So there's so many comics out there.
The Monkey. I'm excited to see that movie. The Stephen King adaptation.
I'd never heard of that one.
Yeah. It's one of his short stories he wrote, Stephen King.
Is that the one with the monkey that does this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those it kind of goes into the Conjuring, you have those haunted items that have that spiritual connection energy.
Yeah.
So it goes into that. So I'm excited for that. And then Ballerina, the John Wick legacy, that next chapter.
A couple of the other guys were excited about that one.
I was excited to see Ana de Armas, her acting. It's grown so much, and she can pull off the action stunts. She's dedicated to the role.
I loved her.
I
loved her in Blade Runner 2049. Thought she was great in that.
So yeah, same as the last Bond movie. In the first one, I'd say I personally love this movie. Nobody 2. I'm excited for that one. Okay.
We had a couple people say that one too. The big favorite of everybody was Mickey 17.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The Robert Pattinson movie.
Yeah.
Directed by
John Woo.
Yeah, he also directed the Snowpiercer, which I love, and he also did
The Silent Night. That was recent.
Silent Night?
Yeah.
But he also did another one that won an Oscar. I forgot what it was called. Parasite. Yeah, he did Parasite also. But it's a good list. I'm a little shocked by the Fantastic Four. I want to see the Thunderbolts. I didn't have it on my list, but I'm still kind of curious about that.
They're gonna fuck that up. It's gonna piss me off when they do the Century. So,
well, but what if they make it good? What if it?
I'll still see it, but
yeah.
Because Superman was number 6. Because I have so many different questions with that movie, what Earth this is on, and all these. Why you have Mr. Terrific? Nobody knows who he is, and you have that retarded Green Lantern.
Yeah, the one with the bowl cut.
Yes.
And it's Nathan Fillion. Yeah, I saw the picture and it showed the comic book characters next to the movie character, like the Mr. I've never heard of Mr. Terrific. I don't even know what the fuck that is. And but the Green Lantern Corps, but the guy's got like a fucking weird ass bowl cut. It's like, but it actually looks like that in the comics. Like, this is gonna be weird. And then the fucking dog. I don't understand the dog. I don't know. I don't read comics, so I don't know. I didn't know that there was a dog for Superman. So.
There's a dog for Crypto. There's a dog for Batman too.
What? There is?
Yes.
I didn't know there was a bat dog.
Yeah.
Is this like in the cheesier comics, or was this in the?
It's more in the Batman Beyond storyline.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably different because that's more of a kid, and that's a teenager being trained by Bruce Wayne, I think.
Yeah. So I'll say that for a different rant later.
Well, let's go ahead and hear the review of this movie.
So I love this movie. It has so much rewatchable value to it. I could watch this. This will go my rotation probably December. I don't know if I can watch it on Christmas again.
Oh, come on. Even for Christmas Day. You saw it on Christmas, you might as well make a tradition of it.
I'll do my best. It's a late night feature, but
I can't watch it with the kids.
my son, he's desperate to watch it. He was begging for him to come with us. He's only 8 years old, but he can handle it. I gotta keep his innocence, but yeah, he's begging me to watch other movies, asking what to watch next.
Yeah.
It probably will be a Christmas tradition now, but.
Okay, you already got brothers for your birthday. You might as well have Nosferatu for Christmas.
Yeah.
I'll make a tradition with you.
So yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a solid, 5 for enjoyment. Just the build up to it. I on purpose avoid watching trailers or I'll watch a teaser trailer just to get the feel for it, just to suck me in.
Yeah.
But then I want to keep my excitement like even keel, or just not to go way too high, to let my hopes down. I'll never forget in Rare Exports, you said, "Oh, it's Bill Skarsgård." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up, and you brought it up. And you were pissed off at me. I was like, "Why did you tell me that?"
So I didn't tell my wife that. She, as we walk out of the theater, she's like, "That was Bill Skarsgård." I'm like, "I know. I didn't tell you on purpose."
Yeah. You don't even notice it though. You don't see Bill Skarsgård's face. It's very hard to tell that it's him. The makeup was very heavy.
Oh yes. So it's a 5 for enjoyment. I love the modern reimagining of the silent horror classic. It's a feast for your senses, a masterclass in filmmaking, in my opinion. Just the effort and the joy and like the care that Eggers puts into this. Just the methodical approach, like making sure you keep that gothic, that black and white, but like you said earlier, with the different tones and just the different tints of different colors to make it look like that way. Just the highlight, emphasize all the shadows was tremendous. It stays true, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a few scenes missing, but I'm happy they didn't do a shot-for-shot remake of the original Nosferatu.
Right.
But it enhances the eerie suspense, and like you can feel, I don't know, just the death coming for everybody when he is coming, he's here. Like you could just feel the urgency from the people. Like they were scared to death. It was the plague. People were dying left and right in the streets. It was fantastic to see. Just the authentic like dresses, just the authentic feel of just the filmmaking, the locations of the film.
Yep.
Just to go back to the enjoyment from the first frame, it grips you. Like you don't know where it's going to go. It's like almost an original IP. It just feels they'll keep you on the edge of your seat the entire story. Obviously we've highlighted Bill Skarsgård. It's just unforgettable performance as Count Orlok. It's a creeping dread and dark beauty. It's just a beautiful balance of both. I just love that part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It does the most important thing. It doesn't rely on cheap jump scares or cheap scares. I love that. It's a slow burn to the shadowy embrace of the whole storyline. I love that.
Well, the thing is about this movie is the scare effects in this movie, where they say that this movie's horrifying and stuff like that. There wasn't any. Yeah. But you can tell that like the whole demon possession, which I didn't even think about talking about, the demon possession part. I can see that scaring other people. This movie didn't scare me at all, but I think it's a very deeply horrifying film. I think it's a good horrifying feel to it. not the jump scares. I don't like jump scares. I think people are just, they go to movies to get a jump scare. No, I like it for the story. So
thank you. Happy I got that reaction out of you. No cheap scares. It's authentic dread. So critically, I give it a 5 as well. I know I'm trapped in the moment. I can't wait to watch this movie again, but it was a 5. I left the movie theater just happy. I'm like, I hope this movie does well. I hope Eggers gets to keep doing what he loves doing. Like, he puts so much heart into this. Just as meticulous attention to detail. I just love it. From the Lighthouse, the Witch, the Northman, I fucking love it. Just the period accurate costumes, just the atmosphere is just done so beautifully. Just the attention to detail. It's crafted with care. It's a layered work of art. I love that. There's so much layer, just the horror trope. There's so much layers of the love story, death, and this the dread. There's so much layer to it. I just love that. So yeah, critically 5, enjoyments of 5. I think ultimately this movie honors the original movie, and it kind of stands as its own masterpiece as well. Yeah. And but yeah, I think it's a movie people should go see. I hope people go see. I hope the word of mouth really does work. And lastly, fuck Florence Stoker.
Well, the funny thing is that I told Snow texted me and asked me how was it, and I told her it was a very beautiful remake of the original movie, and I think it was a great. But you might not like it, but to me, it's worth seeing. And they're going to go see it on Monday or Tuesday, so I'm curious to hear what their response is to it. But I will tell a lot of people who ask me about this movie, and I'm saying it in the show, see the original. See the original. I think it'll help your opinion about this movie even more. If you're going in thinking, because I think a lot of people are going into thinking that's just a Dracula movie remade, and it's not that at all. Because there's a lot of things changed. Yes, it borrows a lot, but I feel like this is worthwhile. And I think this is a perfect theater movie. I've read a lot of reviews online when I came home after seeing this, and noticed that a lot of people thought it was dull, it was boring, it was too long. It was like, no, it was fucking perfect. I thought it was great. Then you just don't fucking enjoy movies the way that they should be. That this was a good retelling of the original Nosferatu 1922 classic. I thought it was great, and it's a different story. And I love the fact that it takes place in Germany. There's Transylvania for Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's not the slick vampire. It's not. It's something different. It's almost like a beastly character, but still horrifying, but also still romantic in the same way, and the fucking voice is awesome. Sorry, I'm getting more back into my review again, but the fact that we both gave this a 5 out of 5, that's fucking great. So we both recommend this movie. So, all right. So I guess that is the end of our episode for Nosferatu. Me and Goop both recommend this. I hope you guys enjoyed this little hot take on it, and we will see you guys later. Make sure you like and press the notification bar, and we're out this bitch. See y'all later.
We're off the trash cans.
Thank you for listening to Barrel Age Flicks. If you like our show, please leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Guys, this helps out enormously. Give us a follow on Instagram at Barrel Age Flicks Podcast. If you would like to send us a special film request, please contact us via Instagram, and we will give you a personal shout out on the show. We are also on Facebook and Twitter. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts. We are officially also on YouTube in video form. And also Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, Audible, Pocket Cast, Spotify, CastBox, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. Make sure you check out Barrel Age Chicks, our spin-off show where you get the girl's perspective. Subscribe to our Patreon for uncut video and early access to our podcast. Special thanks to Carl Casey at White Bat Audio on YouTube for his awesome music. This guy fucking rocks. Check him out. Want to give a shout out to Sammy, one of our guest hosts on the show who does our amazing album artwork. Thank you, Sammy. Hope you join us for our next episode. Later, guys.